Hi everyone, welcome to Love and Life's Journey. I'm Chantel, and I'm sorry I'm not coming to you in person on video because we worked in the yard today and I'm a hot mess. But I wanted to get this video up to show you how I made these 3 different looks for this rabbit out of this one tinsel rabbit I got at Dollar Tree. So let's jump in and get started. Besides the rabbit, you'll also need 1 roll of this green burlap wired ribbon, 1 package of this natural raffia, some green moss. This is a big bag of Spanish moss that I got at Walmart for about $6, and they also carry the forest moss in a smaller package for about $3. Either one of these would work, or if you can find green moss at Dollar Tree, you can use that as well. The first step is to remove the bow and all of the tinsel off of the rabbit to expose the frame underneath. I have all the tinsel removed, and I did decide to leave the ribbon hanger that was already on the frame just because I think that will be an easy way to hang it when I'm finished with my project too. Next, I'm going to cover the frame in this green burlap ribbon. So I'm just going to take the ribbon and attach it to the back of the frame using just a little bit of hot glue. And then I'll just wrap the burlap ribbon around the body and the head of the frame. One tip here is if you do not overlap your ribbon too much, then you should be able to use just 1 roll to cover the body and the head. This serves 2 purposes. The first is it gives you a green background for your moss, so if you have any thin areas showing through, it doesn't show as much because you have the green background behind your moss. And then the second one is it's just a lot easier to glue the moss on because you're not just having to glue it to the frame, you have the whole surface of the ribbon to glue onto as well. And it's okay if you have a few spots that aren't covered all the way because you can still glue your moss over the top and it's not going to show. Next, I'm going to take 1 bundle of the natural raffia and I'm going to use that to wrap the ears in. So you'll just take the bundle apart and you're just going to use 1 strand of the raffia at a time. So I just took my strand of raffia and I'm just going to tie it to the base of the ear and just tie it in a knot on the back and then just start wrapping it around. And it was a little bit challenging to wrap it so that those little knobs that the tinsel was wrapped around were covered because they do stick out on the sides. But I found if you just wrap it multiple times and let it be a little bit loose, don't wrap it super tight, then that helps to cover it up. And if you have any stubborn spots, you can use a little bit of hot glue to kind of help cover those knobs up. But I just keep wrapping it around, and this is a little bit time consuming, so hey, pop in a favorite movie and just start wrapping. When you start to get to the end of the strands and they start getting a little bit thinner, I just glued it down and then trimmed those thinner strands off because they were just really hard to work with. And then I just started a new piece, and I just added the new piece with a little bit of hot glue and then just continued wrapping. So the tips of the ears are a little bit challenging. I found it a little bit easier to cover up those knobs on the top of the ears if I went several different directions with the raffia and then also added a little bit of hot glue on those knobs as I wrapped it just to help hold the raffia in place. Otherwise it kind of wanted to slide off and I was having a hard time covering them up. So here's how it looks with the ears wrapped in raffia, and I am so happy with that look. I just think it looks amazing. So now I'm going to be adding the moss to my rabbit's body and head, and I like to use a box for this, and it helps contain the moss and the mess a little bit. If you haven't seen these grip sticks that I use to seal my bags closed, I use them in the kitchen, I use them in craft stuff. I'll put the link to them in the description box below. They are amazing for holding bags closed. So much better than like a bag clip. I love them. Anyway, this is my Spanish moss, and I'm just going to take some of it and put it in the box. And this just makes it a little bit easier than having to reach into the bag every time. So I just put a bunch in the box and kind of separate it a little bit, and then I will kind of use the box to help contain everything as I glue the moss onto the rabbit. So working in small sections, I'm just going to add some hot glue onto the ribbon and then just take a clump of moss and glue it on to that ribbon. Here it was kind of all stuck together. I did find it was easier to kind of separate little chunks of moss before I tried to glue them on, and that made it a little bit easier to work with. Once all the moss is glued on, then I am just going to take my scissors and trim it up and just help define the shape a little bit better. So here it is with all of the moss on it and trimmed up, and I think that it's looking great, and you could even just leave it like this if you like a more simple look. I decided though that I wanted to add a raffia bow to mine, so I'm just going to take 3 strands of the raffia and put them together, and these are a little bit wild to work with, but I just put them together and tie a bow, and then you can kind of trim it up and make it look a little bit neater once your bow is tied. Then I'm just going to attach it with a little bit of hot glue, and it's finished. I love the simplicity of this. I love how natural it looks, and I think this is probably my favorite of the 3 looks that I'm going to show you, but All three are great, but I think this one's definitely my favorite. So for the second look, I'm going to be showing you how to add some pretty Easter color to the rabbit. If you like a little bit more of the pastel Easter colors, or you just want to make it a little more festive for Easter, you can take some sort of ribbon, and Dollar Tree has some really pretty wired Easter ribbon, and I'm just making a loop in the size that I want my bow to be, so I'm just kind of eyeing it and seeing what I think looks right. And then I'm just going to cut my ribbon and just glue it in a loop for the bow. Then I'm going to cut another little, just short piece of the same ribbon to use to put across the center of the bow and to finish it off. So I'll just, on the back side of my loop, put a little bit of hot glue, and then I'm going to pinch that small piece together at the end and glue it on, and then I will just pinch my bow together in the center and wrap that short little piece around the middle and glue it to hold the bow tight in the center. I decided to do the bow this way instead of just tying a traditional bow because I wanted it to look more like a bow tie, and so just something really simple, but I just thought it would be cute to look like a bow tie. So then once that center part is glued on, then just fluffing up the sides of the bow. I love wired ribbon because you can shape it however you want and it will hold its shape. And then I'm just going to glue the bow onto the rabbit. I'm sure by now you've probably seen either in Dollar Tree or on videos these eggs, but I'm going to be using a few of these speckled eggs from Dollar Tree on the bottom of the rabbit just to add some more dimension and color. And here's the second look with a little bit more Easter color on it, and I think this one's cute as well. For the last look, I'm using some of these small succulents that you can find in the pots at Dollar Tree. And I'm also going to be using some of the reindeer moss that you can get at Dollar Tree. This is a little bit lighter color green and just a different texture. I'm going to start by taking the succulents out of the pots, and they just pull right out of the styrofoam. And once I have them all out of the pots, then I'm just going to use a pair of wire cutters and snip off the stems. Then I'm just going to arrange the succulents around the body and the head of the rabbit, and then I'll glue them down. Then for the last step, I'm just going to take some of the reindeer moss and add it around the rabbit in different places, kind of tucking it underneath the succulents. And here you have the third look with the succulents and moss. This look was actually inspired by this rabbit that I saw on the Pier 1 website. They were selling it for $50, and I made my version from items from Dollar Tree for about $12 to $13. Let me know in the comments below which look is your favorite, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and also the bell when it appears so that YouTube will notify you when I upload new videos. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.